My grandma unfortunately passed away around 5 years ago. She was living here with my grandpa, and they were both on my mom's side. And unfortunately, again, yesterday my grandfather passed. What makes this a ghost story is what happened twice the night before their passing. The night after my grandma passed, my mom had a very vivid dream she told us about. The dream started with my grandma coming out of her room. My mom was in tears asking her, "Mom, are you okay?" And Grandma reassured her multiple times, don't worry, I'm fine." My mom looked down and noticed that my grandma's oxygen tank wasn't plugged in and she wasn't connected to it. "Mom, your oxygen," my mom said. Grandma looked at her endearingly and said, "Oh, I don't need that thing anymore." And then she woke up. Fast forwarding to more recently, my grandpa has been very sick. He gave up on his health and took very poor care of himself and didn't accept any help and often said he wanted to die. My mom tried so hard to get him to change his life and go to a hospital, but he would not go or take any medicine. One day we heard nothing coming from his room. We could usually hear a TV on, him coughing once in a while, but there was nothing. At this point he was gone, but we didn't know that. That night she had another dream, but this time with my grandpa. He walked out of his room and made his way to the restroom, and Mom asked, "Oh my God, are you fine? We haven't heard from you." He smiled, looked at her and said, "Yes, don't worry, we are okay now." My mom described him clearly smiling with tears in his eyes, and she woke up the next day and ran into the room and found him passed away. What makes it crazier is that both dreams happened the night of the day that they passed, even though my mom didn't know that my grandpa had died that day. May they rest in peace. I think someone's watching me. I'll be honest, I never use this site, but I needed a place to share what's been happening to me. So some backstory. I talk to myself a lot, whether it's to brainstorm or just when I'm bored. And I like to do this outside so I don't bother my family with it. The place I live in has bluffs all around and wooded areas galore, which doesn't help, since I live outside of town, and right next to me in my friend's house is this little bit of woods with a dilapidated house. Out of nowhere about 6 months ago, this camper showed up there. Me and my friend think maybe someone's living there and using the house for electricity or something. Regardless, about 3 weeks ago, I was outside talking to myself around 11 p.m., and I started hearing footsteps and felt as though I was being watched. I paused mid-sentence of my rant, and now I wasn't concerned of an animal, because when I go outside, I bring a katana I bought off of Amazon with me. But as soon as I stopped talking, so did the footsteps. So for some reason I shouted out, "If any animal or person is up there, I'd suggest leaving since I have a sword and I know how to use it." Obviously that doesn't sound that threatening, but I didn't hear anything else, so I shrugged it off and continued talking. But I heard footsteps leaving after I continued, and these were human for sure. It was only 2 feet walking and it had weight behind the steps. Needless to say, I went back in the house after that, but it got way creepier just a few days ago. My dad and my sister left around 6 p.m. to go to my brother's, so I was home alone. I was walking around talking to myself now for some reason when I passed my sister's room. I noticed the door a bit cracked open, which isn't out of the usual case. She does that a lot when she leaves. But when I was in the kitchen, I heard her door slide shut, and I know it was hers, because it sounds different than mine and my dad's. I figured it was no big deal. My sister just stayed home. Then I heard someone clear their throat, and it did kind of sound like my sister, so I shrugged it off and went outside to grab the mail. When I came back, it would have been like 10 minutes, because I noticed a storm in the distance and I was watching it. I figured I'd go in and let my sister know about the storm, so I said, "Hey Erica, you awake?" and slid her door open a crack, but when I did, she wasn't in her room. This had me on edge, because that meant someone else shut her door and cleared their throat. I immediately got on a Discord call with 3 of my friends and told them what was going on. I proceeded to clear the house, katana in hands, all closets, rooms, and under the beds, nothing. Now I should have called the police, but I didn't want to bother with it, so I sat down and hopped on a game with my friends. But I was talking with a girl I like, and I told her I was actually concerned, and she said that I'm just paranoid and to relax. I figured maybe she's right. But it's been a few days, and I know what I saw and heard. What do you guys think? Am I overreacting? Or do you guys think maybe I'm right about this? This isn't my personal story. It's from my lifelong friend Jackson that I've been friends with for 17 years. And in all that time, there's only one incident scarred in his mind. Years ago, we were on a camping trip with his family. It was the summer of 2008, and we were relaxing on the way to the campsite. We got to this small town on the way and decided to camp in their woods. So we set up camp. Jackson's mom made dinner, and after, we watched other camping videos that their family had recorded. We made marshmallows and had a fun time. Then at around 8:30, we went to bed. And now we're going to shift to Jackson's perspective. Around 1 a.m., he woke up. He says he didn't know why, but since he did wake up, he took a walk. It was around 5 minutes later when he heard something. He hadn't noticed it before, but there was a faint noise. Thump, drag, thump. Jackson, being the cocky person he is, muttered, "Assholes don't know how to keep it down for a while." He'd assumed it was a drunk, taking long, exaggerated steps. But it stayed the same volume every time. Then he got curious, and he walked towards the noise. He hid behind a bush, and when he got close enough, what he saw scared him so bad he forgot to scream, which saved him. A man had dismembered body parts with him and was trying to stick them to a tree. He had multiple dismemberments with him. Then he saw a bag full of axes. That's what he was hearing. The thump was from him using an axe to stick a body to a tree. Dragged another to a different tree, then stuck that one. Thump, drag. Now Jackson was confused. Then the man looked directly at him. Jackson ran the second he noticed and got lost. He somehow lost the man, but he realized he was lost as well. I woke up hours later and saw that he was gone. So I woke his parents up and we called out for him. We eventually found him, but his clothes were torn, his eyes were baggy, and he was in shock. We took him to the hospital and he was having nightmares. Every night he'd wake up screaming, "Don't kill me, please!" When he finally calmed out of his mental state, he told me the story. And I believed him because he'd never lied to me. It's 14 years later and we're still good friends. This incident was never forgotten, only ignored. But I wanted to tell you this to get it off my chest.